Hi 4050 class. Today we're going to be learning how to use GIMP to edit textures for 3D models. Now first off, we're going to need a 3D model to use. I went ahead and already chose one for myself. I'm going to be using some 500 First Legion clone troopers that I pulled from this wonderful gentleman, 32 Rabbit right here, just kind of as a little example model. That way we have some textures that have already been pre-made to kind of mess with. Now, and truly edit using the power of GIMP. Now, first off, let's go ahead and get our model here in a Blender. That way it's just a little bit easier to visualize, especially when we make changes to them textures. We can throw them right on the model, see how good they look. First, let's get those models in here. All right, I'm a big fan of the Recon clone, so we'll go ahead and pull him in here. Awesome. Now, we'll turn on this mode here just to see what the model looks like with textures. Obviously not the best, not even sure where this pink is coming from, but the key of today is I actually want to change it from the blue clone trooper variant here to something different. Let's say, I know there's the 91st Legion, which I really like. They've got this beautiful kind of red half or crescent moon kind of shape that they have as their kind of insignia, and their armor's kind of got a red tone to it. So we'll try and mimic something a little similar to that. But for now, let's go ahead and locate what textures we have on the model here. Now, as far as I know, GIMP can open many different types of image files. And here is the program here. And real quick, in case you weren't sure what GIMP meant, that is going to be the GNU image manipulation program. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open an image file. Here we are. So we'll bring up the helmet here and we will open helmet. Boom, there she is. Now, images like this are kind of hard to understand sometimes because they are kind of flat images wrapped onto 3D models. But with this one specifically, it kind of makes sense. We can use the T-visor kind of in the center here to get a reference point for what we're working with. Now, like I said, I kind of want to try and remove the blue texture from this model here and replace it kind of with this white armor texture that's kind of all around, and then put even a red logo on top of it. Now, with GIMP, that should be a little bit easier to do, especially with some of its lovely tools here. Now, one of the greatest tools to ever come to image manipulation is here in GIMP. It is called the fuzzy select tool. I believe Photoshop calls it the smart selection tool, but we're in GIMP, so we'll use these tools' names. So using the fuzzy selection tool, what you can do is click on an area, and as it says here, it says it selects a continuous region on the basis of a color, and luckily our colors are super stark here, so it gets a pretty well-defined shape of the color we're looking for, which is that blue. Now, as we can see, it automatically selects some of this stuff here. However, not exactly what I was looking for. There is still a few portions that are left out, but if we click and drag with the smart selection tool, it seems to actually clean that selection up and grab all of the blue pixels here. Now, with this selection, I'm actually going to try something a little different. There's a few different ways that you could get rid of this. Some people may use the clone stamp tool or the clone tool here. What you could do is place a reference point somewhere down on the image, and the clone stamp tool would actually take a copy of that color of pixels on the reference area and put them down wherever you click, which and I'll demonstrate that here in a little bit. But I actually want to try and apply some layers to this to see if we can just completely wash the color out of it. So we're actually going to Control C and V, copy that selection to a layer. Actually, let's see. So yeah, we're gonna copy the selection to a new layer. So we can hide the old layer, and here we have that lovely blue section that we want to apply those new colors to. So here we can actually enter some color management. Here we are. Grab the saturation. Here we are. Grab the saturation. And let's see if we can just turn that saturation all the way down. There we go. Look at that. It's a lovely dark gray color. We'll pop this up for reference here. So here we, as you can see, we've got a gray outline where the blue outline used to be. But like I said, we're actually trying to make that match the rest of the helmet. So we're going to try and bring that to a white color. Almost there. Let's see if we can take it just place. Let's do. All right. Now we've kind of color matched this pretty all right if you ask me. Next thing we need to do is kind of feather out the edges, make sure that they are kind of start to, I guess the word, merge together. Now, you could use the merge tool or the blur tool like I'm doing here. I'm not sure that I like the way that that's blending enough. So I'm actually going to take that clone stamp tool, and instead of using it as an entire replacement, I'm actually going to use it as a little bit of a Band-Aid. You know, it would help if I was on the correct layer. As we slowly bring this across here, you'll notice that edge right there, that little nasty edge that came in from our feather selection not working perfectly, start to disappear. And the color that we have left behind almost merges perfectly, which is super awesome. Now, over on the left side of the screen here, probably should have went over this a little bit more, but there are some options for the tool you're currently handling. So really, the graphical interface of GIMP is really easy to use here. In the center, you've got your image, your table that you're working with of your image. Over on the right side, you have your image layer or image layers, and then any brushes and patterns that you may need, or how would I put it? This is where you keep the organization of your project here, and on the left side is where you have all your tools and the properties with which you can change the tools. So I can change the size of my brush here. Say I want just this little part right here. I can change the brush to be exactly that. Gotta make sure I'm on the right layer here. That's one thing that I am a culprit of quite often is when I'm using a clone tool in any graphical image manipulation program, I find that quite often do I forget to make sure I'm on the right layer, which is just a beginner's mistake, something I do myself. Try not to fall for it yourself if you ever end up using GIMP. But as you can see here, I'm using the clone stamp tool to kind of clear out this really sharp edge of pixels. Something a little lower down if I'm going to be doing that. That way it looks a little bit nicer when we bring it back into the modeling program. So this is what our Clone Trooper helmet looks like now that we've edited that one layer and kind of merged all of it together. So we've got this beautiful white area up here. And I do understand there's some blue up here, or I guess technically down here, as that is kind of towards the bottom of the helmet. We're actually going to clean that up as well, and we'll jump to that later. But for now, we're going to actually do something really cool here. Is let's just go take the half moon item from the 91st Recon logo. Now this is the image of our 91st Recon logo. We'll actually take this image right here, go back over here to GIMP, get, let's see, let's see if we can do this here. Do a little bit of planing. So, wow, look at that. Brings it right in. The color we want isn't exactly what's on the actual clone trooper here. Plus, this is a little skewed. The helmet is, and then as well as the logo isn't exactly in the right orientation. So we're gonna try our best to prompt our lovely GIMP here to, I guess, how do you say this? Move it the way we need it to. Now, let's see if we can use our transform tools here. Let's see, Shift R is going to be our rotate tool. So first things first, we're going to get that sucker rotated. Actually, let's do an exact 180 degrees. Do like my exact measurements here. Move it an exact 180 degrees. And then we're going to scale it as well, which I believe is what, Shift S? Yes. And we're going to scale it down. Way it matches the helmet size. Awesome. And we're going to move it into place. Now, if I remember correctly, the 91st Recon clone troopers, they like to have their logos kind of on the top. I guess, yeah, this side of their helmet here, the top left side of their helmet. Nope, like exactly where that was at. So we're going to go ahead, put that logo here. Now, like I said, the helmet is a little skewed just because of the way we have to wrap it around a 3D model. So we're also going to change the way the actual, we're going to skew the image we have here. And we're actually going to skew that, let's see, with a Shift W or Shift L. Both would probably work here. I am probably a little bit more of a fan of the 3D transform, or at least I like the way 3D transform is used in Photoshop. It's a little different in this program here, but that's all right. Let's see, yeah, change on the Z-axis, not too bad. Photoshop, it's a little different in this program here, but that's all right. See, yeah, change on the Z-axis, not too bad. Change it on the Y-axis as well. There we are. That's starting to look a little bit more like what I would expect. And this is a little bit further forward. So actually, I guess that's a little bit more scrunched up because it's kind of brought into the center here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Transform, boom. You know what, I kind of want to rotate it just a little bit more. Luckily, the tools in GIMP are really easy to do, or really easy to use to change that. Now, finally, we want to go ahead and make sure that this is the right color. The color of the 91st Recon Core being actually kind of toned down of a red. This kind of darker red here that we see. Oh, I guess it's on both sides of the helmet. But this kind of toned or darker toned red. So we're actually going to open up our lovely colors again. And this time I think I'm going to go with the color temperature. Or actually not color temperature, sorry. The color hue chroma. I think that's what I'm looking for here. We're going to leave the hue the same because it is a red color at the end of the day. Let's see, we're going to drop the lightness down. Oh, beautiful. That's exactly what we were looking for. And tone the chroma down as well. And it's going to give us that nice dark red color. Boom. And that is applied right there on the top left side of the helmet. Now I'm going to go ahead, clean up the rest of the blue stuff kind of underneath his visor here. And then we're going to apply that to the model and see what that looks like. Okay, so here is my finished texture. We've got the blue on the bottom cleared up. We've got the logo. We even changed the little mohawk part of the helmet to have this beautiful red color here. Now we're going to go ahead. We're going to save this as a uh, just as I guess or actually, well, you can't save it. That'll save it as a project file that is specifically meant for GIMP. However, we can export it once it's done. Let's see. I'm going to export this into my downloads. Kind of put it near the rest of the files we need. Select file type. Let's see. Do a JPEG. I think I want to do a PNG though. Let's see. Here we are, PNG image. Awesome. Now we're going to export this and we're going to name this clone helmet edited. Export that. I think all those settings are fine. I guess we'll find out here in a minute once we import this into our model and see what that truly looks like. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to find that new helmet or the new helmet texture we just made. Here. There we are. Wow, look at that. That looks so awesome. Let's this part less necessary. You guys won't need to know how to do all of this. But look at that cool new helmet we just designed using GIMP. There is the logo on the left side. It's got the edited red Mohawk section as well. That looks super awesome. Hopefully, you can glean some information on how you can use GIMP to edit pictures in the future for a multitude of projects. I specifically do a lot of 3D modeling, so being able to use GIMP to edit images for my models, that way I can turn one thing into another very quickly for whatever use I may need them for. It's super helpful. But thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.